Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. We've got returning guest Alison Cox. Hi.
What's up? Yay, thank you.
Yay, thanks for joining. So excited.
Me too.
Yep, it's super early today. So you said you're heading to the horses this
Oh,
morning?
yeah. Heading out to the horses this morning, which is funny because what are we going to talk about today?
Conscious horse, conscious rider.
Yes, I'm so
Mhm.
excited to see them. Who knows? Yesterday consisted of, you know, being with, having, playing with horses also consists of weird, random outside of just your horse world things. Like I have to fill prairie dog holes today. I filled two yesterday. I have a scar from the last time, but my arm looks very clear today. I did better this time, saved a toad's life, and I get to fill more prairie holes around the arena today. So there you go.
Nice. That's like with your scar, did a stick hit you or something or
No, the land out where in Colorado, we're in Colorado, Lafayette, Colorado is where they are. And the land is so hard when it dries. We're in the dry desert. So mountainous dry desert, even though it's been raining at least once a day. But the land dries so hard and there's clay and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know how the little prairie dogs do it, but they burrow in the earth and it is like the hardest, rockiest house. So when you stick your arm down there, you get to oftentimes scrape your arm on stuff.
whoa. So that happened?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was last time. That was before I knew that could happen. So, um, yeah, I like my little scar.
That is cool. Um, that's so the class coming up is next weekend, and you're facilitating. You and Gary Douglas are facilitating the class.
Yeah, it's Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, facilitated with myself and Gary Douglas. I'm shell shocked a bit and so grateful and excited. He's my hero, basically.
Yeah, he's awesome. Like, yeah, Gary is the man.
Man.
And so the dates are July 12th to July 14th. And you had said it's in Lafayette.
Yep, in Lafayette, Colorado. Next weekend it is like about a half an hour from Denver, 20 minutes from Boulder. You can take Ubers. It's just kind of the coolest place ever.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, I like have no idea what the class is. And you guys expanded it over a course of 3 days. Because typically it's a 2-day class.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Um, yeah. So what could you talk about in regards to conscious horse, conscious rider? Like, like what, like I have no idea what it is. I watched the video, but I'm like, okay, like what is it?
Which video did you watch?
It was short. I didn't have much time because we just hopped on, but it was like less than a minute.
Aha, I think I know this video. Yes. Well, Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider was created by Gary Douglas back in the day. Um, I'm not exactly sure when, but he has been around horses his whole life, grew up with horses, has trained horses, walked out into the desert with a horse with no name. Just kidding. I won't start singing. Walked out in the desert barefoot just and started, watching, observing horses and things like that, and really teaching himself through questions, how does a horse talk? How does a horse communicate? Do they communicate? He found out they communicated telepathically because when he would walk up and one horse would notice, pick its head up and notice him, then all the horses would. That horse would let everybody else know, hey, there's someone over there. And they do that for, surviving in the wild and communicating where water is and stuff like that. And then one day, also long time ago, horses decided they chose to be with people too. And
Okay.
that creationship has, exploded into all sorts of things. People wouldn't be where they are on the planet in different cities, so vastly spread around the planet if it weren't for horses. Horses basically brought us everywhere. And so Gary, he started to notice that a lot of the communion that you can actually have with the horse, talking to the horses, communicating with the horses through the way the horses do, and, inviting the horses to learn new ways to communicate to us. He saw that a lot of that was being lost on um, just total miscommunication of what the horse was what horses were saying back to their owners. So, for example, I know there was a lady he was friends with or giving a lesson to or something, and her problem was she couldn't get on her horse or ride her horse without drugging the horse first, which fine, no right or wrong in the horse world. Lots of people, would use CBD or need to drug their horses if their horse is too crazy. That's just a choice. But he's like, there's got to be something else possible because, you know, you shouldn't have to drug your horse to be able to ride. And if you do, maybe, back up, ask some questions and see if there's a different possibility because the horse is kind of like your body. Um, Horses or your body, like if it doesn't like what's going on, or if it requires something, or if it needs a supplement or doesn't need a supplement, or there's some, deeper things going on, your body's going to let you know through getting sick, skin stuff, pain, like all kinds of different things are just like, feeling lethargic. Your body's constantly letting you know all kinds of stuff, whether it's yours or somebody else's, and it's just letting you know, like, hey, this person's knee hurts, and you're like, oh, my knee hurts. If you don't acknowledge that stuff and you just cover it up with medicine or painkillers, or you just drug yourself up, you're never going to get to the bottom of what your body's actually saying. And things are eventually just going to become hopeless, deteriorate, or you're just going to have to live with either constant pain or constantly having to take drugs and painkillers. But you might never be able to just have the ease of what it would be like to fully be in communion with your body. So that's kind of like one of the aspects of conscious horse, conscious rider is to not throw your points of view out the door if you don't want to. There's no judgment in conscious horse, conscious rider, but also to invite you into a world where there are different possibilities with your horse, where even if you had the scariest, craziest, wildest, worst horse, what if you could start to use tools, questions, body processes, allowing the communion of the molecules in the horse and you, and what you guys can create together to create a totally different reality, totally different possibility for the horse in the body, you and your body. This is also, conscious horse, conscious rider. So asking questions that are going to allow you to become more in communion with your body, which will eventually allow you to become a better rider if you're going to ride, or if you're not going to ride, finding out what you would like to do and be with horses or without horses. I'd say this class like really is turbo speed mutation superstar class of getting you to a place where you start to understand what you are creating in the world, what your energy is creating in the world, where you're listening, where you're not listening, because a horse never lies. And when you do these exercises, we do a lot of exercises and things in the class, you start to see where your choices, where your energy, where your questions are, where your conclusions, what your conclusions and your judgments are creating, not only for you, but how that's showing up in the world. The horse gets to show you all of that, and you get to never leave the class the same again. You get to go live your life in a completely different way. Because those horses never lie, which is so annoying.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, imagine if like, more people were like that, like, because, horses don't have a point of view. So what, I wonder like what it is to spend more time with horses and what that looks like. I haven't spent like,
They have a point of view. They have points of view. They just don't like, sorry. I'm like, wait, I must speak up.
yeah, 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 go for it.
um they have points of view, they just are willing to change their point of view a lot faster than we are, and some horses have our super interesting point of view about all points of view. They have lots of allowance, but some do take like make decisions, and so they'll have like a stuck point of view that you can help shift them out of, or ask them to do something else, get them to change their point of view about all kinds of stuff, like having a person on their back or not. At the beginning, some horses are like, why are you on my back? And then, you send them to the trainers, and then eventually they do or don't change their point of view, or at least become an allowance of someone being on their back. Whereas my horse she did not have a point of view. She had a point of view about me when she was young. No one had ever been on her back. I had never trained a horse, except I was just, I took these conscious horse, conscious rider classes, and I was using all the tools I had learned. And I just started playing with my horse. I thought I was just playing with my horse in a round pen. And one day she like stopped in front of me because I was kind of thinking like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to get on top of her. But she was only like 2 years old or 3 years old. She was big enough. I wasn't just gonna go ride her. She wasn't old enough to go on rides yet. But she stopped in front of me, and it seemed like she was telling me to get on, like to get on her. I'm like, that can't be true. I'm not. No, no. We'll just, I kind of washed it over that day, and took her back in and came out the next day and was playing in the round pen and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And she stopped again. And I was like, all right, I'm not making this up. Do you want me to get on you? Yes. So I sat on top of this 2-year-old, never had a person on her before horse. Um, and she allowed me to walk really slowly with her around the arena on her back, bareback, which is like, wow, who knew? Anyway, so horses, they have points of view. Just a lot of times they don't have, well, they definitely don't judge. They don't have judgments. They do make decisions, but they have a lot more, they're a lot more willing to change their point of view once a point of view has been like stuck and made. If you have someone who's willing to ask them questions, like exactly like what we're talking about in conscious horse, conscious rider, like the more you are interesting point of view about their point of view and what they think is working that isn't, the more you can invite them and melt that point of view into a different possibility.
Wow, I mean, I guess for a moment there, I misapplied and misidentified judgment and no point of view.
Isn't that cool?
Right? Wow. Um, so they don't have any judgment.
No, they don't judge, that's for sure. They just will sometimes, like, we might consider them judging, like, the horse doesn't like me. That's more like your thing going on for you in your universe. So when you get around the horse, you're going to think the horse doesn't like me, but really that might be something in your world that you're projecting at the horse. So then the horse is going to act like that. And if a horse doesn't like you, it's not because they're judging you, they just don't prefer you.
So,
There's
so
nothing wrong with you. They're just like, no thanks.
so don't take it personal. Well,
Don't take
okay,
it personally.
well, would like if you match up with a horse, but that would it change if that horse doesn't prefer you, or is that kind of like you have to be up like when you go to ride a horse, and then if you're partnered up with that horse, would you work with him or would you switch?
You know, um, I think horses, kind of like us, if we would allow ourselves, get to change their mind all the time. Like you might get a different horse every day. My horse, for the most part, Lily, that lives here, she likes me almost every day. And she's like, she'll literally shove other horses at me, like, play with them today. I'm like, but she's so smart. She, I swear she actually cares about all the other horses and like wants them to be trained and, facilitated and stuff too. So she will, one time, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, I had to take one of the horses out and they were all like in my face. And so I was trying to get this one horse out and Lily came up like, it's my turn. I'm always the first one. When you're carrying that, that means this is for me. You put this around my head. And I was like, Lily, I'm going to take this horse out first. And so it's like she got it, like something clicked. And so she just went in front of me and created this barrier between me and the horse and all the other horses and just shoved them all out of the way. So this other horse and I could leave. I was like, thank you. Was that for real?
Wow.
That was for real. So I think it's fun. If you, like you were saying, if you were put together with a horse and it didn't seem like the horse liked you at first, that's like half the battle is creating the communion or the energy flows or the hookup with the horse that you're going to ride with. And in Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, there are so many amazing tools where we literally give you like the basics. Like, don't forget, we'll give you these 3 to 5 things that you can ask and practice before you get on or around or work with any horse. But basically, you need to get it to where the horse is present with you and you're also present with the horse. Not present with, is this working? Is this not working? Does the horse hate me? Am I gonna fall? I'm scared. Or I know everything. That's not being present. It's
Right.
like being present with what is today. Who is this being? What's required? Is anything required before I get on? Um, Another horse out there, Ella, who's ridden a lot, who is ridden by people a lot, and actually not by me. I had never ridden her, which is funny because I've known her for so long. I'm like, how have I never ridden you? But I figure she gets ridden a lot. So there's like 21 horses out there and not many of us working with the horses. So I kind of work with who doesn't get worked on. But, I had this expectation. I'm like, oh, I'll ride Ella today. Finally, this is going to be easy. She's ridden all the time. No big deal. When I got her up to the mounting block, she wouldn't stand still. She kept moving away from the mounting block and moving her butt away. I'm like, oh, you little stinker. You, I had the expectation of you were going to be the most perfect horse, easiest horse to ride because you've been ridden. And you want to look at where your projections, expectations, judgments, fixed points of view are so that you're not disappointed and then you go into judgment and then you make the horse wrong or you wrong, which happens a lot. Like, why aren't you standing? Or maybe it's me. It's like you'll
Mm.
go into these weird judgment things instead of like, oh, what's going to show up today? Oh, you're not moving. Awesome. Like, what do I need to do an exercise? If I just actually be present with you, pull energy and ask you to stand, do you stop? Do I need to put you against a fence? Like you just start to play with all of these different things. Or I like to until it clicks for the horse. Cause in Ella's world, it was almost like she was pretty present with me, but also she just thought it was time to just kind of free for all, whatever. Um, I'm like, no, I would like you to work on this thing. Because I knew for me, from my point of view, getting her to at least open the door to standing at the block, at the mounting block, was going to create greater for her future and for everybody else's future. I'm like, oh, this is something we can work on. So I decided to, do exercises, train her at standing on the block until she stood at the block, which she did. But once I went up to get on her, she would start moving. So the moment that she stood at the block, something clicked a little bit. I was able to put my body over her and pet her. And we stood there for maybe a minute. And then that was the end of the session. So I still never ended up riding her, but I knew that that was, from my point of view, that's what was required to create a greater future for her and everybody else moving forward, where people wouldn't have to like jump on her or, you know, the moving mount, or, you know, she could actually choose if she wishes to become a horse that would stand for you, and who knows what that would create more of, you know, when people are present with that. There you
Um, well, it seems like very energetic. I guess I have a question when you're with a horse and if you know like body processes or symphony of possibilities or any other energetic work, and then when you're with a horse, like if you were like when you're asking questions in regards to running the processes and you go to run it on a horse and they've never had it before, is it different with every horse or would a horse kind of like freak out or be like, whoa, is it gonna communicate with you? Like I just
I haven't seen a horse. So there's these, yeah, body processes that you learn. There's a ton of them. In
I,
go ahead. Yeah.
so I'm asking because I went horseback riding in I think it was like Cologne, like near Kelowna or something. Anyways, and I was with this horse, and I think I was like, I think I either ran like MTVSS or SOP, and it just its eyes got bigger and it made a noise. And then I guess I'm asking like, oh, was it? It didn't like freak out, but it was kind of like, well, it definitely was like, hello. So that's where the question's coming from. So just
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely run into horses that were like, "What are you doing? I don't want this," or "I don't want you to touch me." So you can, like I was saying, you learn these different hands-on body processes that literally energetically change all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of like there's horse massage. I got I'm a certified horse massage therapist, but there's also these hands-on body processes that you can add to either your body work sessions or your riding, or just do those alone to work on your horse. And I'm almost preferring those more lately because they are so powerful and so dynamic. And sometimes it does take the horse a little while to either, you might have to work on getting the horse to even want to be touched, which is totally fine if they don't. Um, there's a video about this horse I worked with, Brookstone, the dangerous stallion. And at the beginning, he was like, "Do not touch me, anyone." He did not want to be touched. So I ran these processes from afar, um, until now I don't, so much has changed with him. I can't wait to make another video because now he walks up, turns to the side, and is like, "Put your hands on me right now." Every day I have to run a process on him, the MTVSS that you were talking about. I'm like, "Yes, sir." All right. And now he likes to be scratched and massaged on his neck and his shoulders and his butt. And before, like if you touched him here, oh my God, he would try to bite you right away. But now, you know, I was petting his ears yesterday and he's like, like, what the heck? This stuff, but his body is starting to feel so much better. So I'll run the body process that I learned in Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider from Access Consciousness, run that, and he'll just yawn forever and relax, like, and all kinds of weird stuff. And he might make noises sometimes, but he can receive, he's a horse that will receive it for, you know, an hour, 2 hours. And I massage the roof of his mouth a lot and run processes in his mouth because he has a lot of stuck points of view and things like that in there. And then yesterday I went to run a process on him and he wanted it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, you know, and then my horse, she runs body processes more like an autistic kid where she would rather run it on you than you run it on her. So most of the time I get to run processes on her by working on other horses, and she'll be right behind me contributing, or I'll ask her to work on me and she'll just like be doing stuff on my back. And sometimes I can, you know, she'll go for a process where she's the receiver sitting there, but not often. Or if I run them, she loves obsessed with her butt being scratched. So I'll run things there. When I'm riding her, I'll, run different, if her body's asking, run different processes there. And once you actually run a process on a horse, like the MTVSS is a great one to run on your horse, teach your horse's body, because then anybody who gets on your horse afterwards, whose body requires that energy, the horse is going to run it on that rider. So you get like this big, like, snowball effect of contribution, consciousness, space to bodies without even having to think about it. The horses
Mhm.
are like, where else can we share this? Here.
Um, just gonna see if there's like any, it's funny, I had a question last night and then I had two pop up and then the one canceled the other out. So it seems like a really cool class, like, because I'm like, oh man, that'd be so fun to like I think it'd be an awesome class to go to.
It's yeah, it's my favorite. I'm biased.
Is it your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I love all access classes, but if you add horses, I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty unique, it's like, yeah, I would say it's a very unique class because I've never taken a class with a horse before.
Everyone should take a class with a horse at least once, I say. No, it's really cool. And
Yeah.
it's also terrifying for some people. So it is kind of a hard class to get to because people think about like, am I going to have to ride a horse? I've never ridden a horse. I fell off. I can't tell you how many people show up that have fell off a horse when they were like 7, broke their arm, and then have never been around a horse again. But somehow they end up at a conscious horse, conscious rider class. And I'm like, and they get on the horses, and I'm like, wow, you are a brave person. Like your last point of view was horses are scary. I broke my arm. We do clearings to clear fear, to clear past life stuff. Like you make all these decisions about horses and you based on all these past things that have happened. We clear out the stuck points of view of that. And then before you know it, you don't care that you broke your arm on a horse anymore and you try it again and you see what shows up for you. Or, you know, it's hard to get to also because of whatever horses will bring up. They just be so much. There, have you ever walked up to a horse and you're like, wow, you're big? Or you didn't walk up to a horse because you knew you were going to perceive like this big energy. They're this huge energy that really they will allow you to expose whatever judgments, points of view you have basically about yourself or that you're functioning from. And there'll be a space that allows those to be exposed. So sometimes it can feel really scary or overwhelming, and people are afraid of that. But again, in the class, we do lots of clearings, and also you don't have to get on the horses or even, you get to start with where you're at. But a lot of people, it's going to bring up your stuff. And I'd say, 99.999999999 20,000 billion nines percent guarantee that you're not going to walk out of the class the same as you were going in. So if you're happy with everything, if you do not want to change, if you are good to go, don't come to class. That's another thing. Like if you like where you're at, don't go. If you would like to know you more, allow your life to change even more, find something else new about yourself or true about yourself that you weren't willing to before, come to class.
Cool. Well, I mean, like, thanks for talking to that. I remember like that was the energy of when I was like a little kid. I just, horses have big energy. So I walked up to a horse and with that big energy, I like looked at the horse and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let you be, like and kind of just keep going. We would visit farms in school. So
Lucky.
and yeah, so wow, thanks for like speaking to that because I think like I was like you were speaking to all these questions coming up and just yeah, like in regards to you know, working with the horses and the points of views that people do have and all the energies that come up, and that this class just seems like such a gift because you work with, you know, it sounds cool. You get to work with the horses, run processes, and then with the class, it's like facilitating people and horses. Sounds cool.
Yeah. In a nutshell, it's like, yep, all of that and so much more. Yes. And I love Big Horse Energy, BHE. We got BHE, Big Horse Energy.
That's awesome. It is a cool energy. It's yeah, I definitely get that. It makes me like want to, you know, go and hang out with horses more.
Me too. I'm a little obsessed. I didn't mean to be, it just happened.
Yeah, like yeah, I like your hat by the way.
Oh, thank you. It happens to be an El Lugar hat. If you haven't heard of El Lugar, it's the most amazing place on the planet. Besides, it's one of the most beautiful, nourishing. Speaking of horses, there's so many horses that live there, including my other horse, Orion, lives in El Lugar in Costa Rica. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go to ellugar.com. God, I don't even know. We'll have to put it in the thing.
Yeah.
But it's like El Lugar Resort, Costa Rica. Shauna will tell us.
I will. It's thinking. There we go. It is a resort and it is, oh, elugar.com with a dash, and it looks really nice. Tons of photos. So it's,
l-lugar.com.
Yep.
Yes, that's the order.
Well, there
Um,
we go.
so, this place it is starting, the horses there are Costa Ricense del Paso, and they are a completely amazing, different ride than any other horse on the planet. They're in my world, they're like giant Icelandic horses because the Icelandic horses are shorter, but their gait is so smooth. They're gaited, and so are these horses, the dancing horses. But when you ride them, it is the smoothest, craziest, best ride on a much taller horse than an Icelandic horse. But the ride out in Elugar is, you know, it's been in horse magazines, and it's this up and coming place for basically one of the most beautiful rides to have in the world. So definitely don't go there, not just for the horses, but it's beautiful and magical.
Looks super beautiful. I guess I have one more quick question as we're ending this. So in the class you do go for a ride?
In the class, every class is totally different. So we don't just we have done trail rides and stuff in different classes, but that is not, this class is more like, if we get there, we do. If there are other things, kind of like Ella, where she didn't know how to stand at the block. Like, our target as the facilitators are to set you up with like where you're at, and then ask questions that are going to create greater for you now and in the future. So if there's something that you have to take a look at first this day, and everybody else needs to go ride, wouldn't you be happier that you changed this thing that is going to give you such a better ride in the future? So I'd say the class is more about, this is also too defined, but yes, there can be riding. No, there's not always riding. You do not have to ride. You can ride. There's a possibility to, ride in a round pen in the arena at this place, or, we'll see what happens. But no, the class is not, it's conscious horse, conscious rider, but it's not about the ride. It is about being present. And if you are starting out and you're not even present, then it's about getting you to where yourself and where you are and what it takes to be present for you with the horse. All these different things, they're going to set you up for the ride of your life, called your life, basically. And yeah, So not all about the riding, not about the riding, about facilitation exercises, clearings and stuff. Possible you do get on the horse or you don't have to, your choice.
Mhm.
And there you go. That's a
Yeah,
long
cool.
answer.
Yeah, I just thought I'd ask, because I, um, I've always wanted to own a horse as a kid. I was like, oh, I want a horse. And then, I guess I've personally only gone to, what is it called when you go
Trail
seek
ride?
out? Yeah, trail riding.
Yeah.
That's, that's what I've done. So I just thought I'd ask because there's the class and then there's the other different businesses out there that only offer trail riding. And so I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a trail riding class, that's for sure. But your trail rides, if you do go on trail rides, will get much, much better. And, I love going on trail rides now. Before I knew any of this stuff, I didn't really get it. Like it was awesome to be on a horse and yay, I was following someone through these trails. And now it's like, one of my favorite things to do. You hear people like, I don't like going on trail rides, it's boring. I'm like, it's not boring to me. Like, wow, there's so much that you can perceive and shift and change, not only with the horse, but like wherever you are riding with the earth, different things like that.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think, yeah, this is cool. Thank you so much.
thank you, Shauna. I love this. I will talk about horses any day, all day. And I would talk
Okay.
to you any day, all day. You're
Yay. Awesome. Thank you. Well, yeah, this has been great. So I hope you have a good day going forward.
I hope you do too. I hope to see you in the future ASAP. And thank you so much. And again, the Conscious Source Conscious Writer class with Gary Douglas is next weekend in Lafayette, Colorado, July 12th through 14th, 2024. Woohoo!
Woohoo. All right. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.